Well, we've been hiking for 14 weeks, and we've reached a point so high only eagles can fly. Supernatural funk perch. One false move, the next thing you know, this delicate nest falls apart. Your whole season goes crashing into a ravine. So without further ado, let's climb this week's Mahomes Mountain. So we can land.
Well done. And that's, listen, Coach, you should
really stepped it up.
That wasn't me. That was our behind the scenes.
Remember last week?
You should feel very special because last week, Wilds didn't do the green screen. He said it's too much work and instead brought out here a fake oxygen mask that he then forgot to put on. It was a disaster. The only thing that made it worse was last week on the mountain, he advocated, I think, oddly for and against Kirk Cousins, which I'm sure was a one-time mistake that won't happen again. But first, here's who's off the mountain this week. Kirk stays off the mountain. McCorkle Jones.
He won. He fall in a loss?
Wilds. 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. They scored 10 points. Will Levis, whomever the quarterback for the Giants is and whomever the quarterback for the Raiders is. I feel bad for Aiden O'Connell, who hurt his knee. Giants quarterbacks are drawing dead, it would appear. So that means there is an extra opening on the mountain because there's 28 spots. 5 starting quarterbacks are off, so we'll see who gets it. 7th row. Aaron Rodgers back on the mountain. Kyler stays, but barely. Anthony Richardson and a bye. Jameis stays, but barely. I didn't think Cooper Rush played terribly yesterday. I actually watched that game thinking about Greg Jennings and how much he'd want to stick it to Brew. Derek Carr, he probably suffered a season-ending injury. Derek's been in the league a long time. I wanted him to finish the year on the mountain, so I bumped him up.
That was nice.
I did see who's back. Danucci's back. And Michael Penix gets on the mountain by not playing. We will discuss that more later. 6th row. Don't you say I'm a Brock Purdy hater. If I was, why is he moving up? Brock Purdy right along the last 2 NFC Super Bowl representatives on the mountain, and the next NFC Super Bowl representative a year or so from now, Caleb on the mountain, all the rookies next to each other, and then Bryce. How about Bryce Young? I thought,
good for him.
And the numbers this week weren't overwhelming. If you watched it, it was really good, and he was a drop from Leggett away from executing a 98-yard go-ahead, late 4th quarter touchdown drive against Philly, so he moves up. 5th row. All right, so while we temporarily lost our minds yesterday and discussed whether or not Russell Wilson, off a 158-yard performance, deserved MVP consideration.
6-1.
That was lunacy. He did deserve to jump up on the mountain. Listen, Justin Herbert, one of these days, we need you to win a big game. That day wasn't Sunday, but it was, I guess, closer. Jaden Inabai stays, Tua stays, and CJ, the rare bye bump up. It's almost unprecedented in Mountain history. However, he had probably fallen a bit too far because some folks had overset expectations on CJ, and because of that, we were unfairly penalizing him.
Abandoned my people early.
4th row, Sam the Man Darnold.
Love it.
Colin on here talking about a 10-year-long victory lap with his love affair with Darnold, wanting to give him the Vikings job and a couple $100 million. Bake Show, I love that Baker has embraced his true self, which means we're getting 2 or 3 touchdowns, we're getting 1 or 2 interceptions, we're running around, and the Bucs love it. Jordan Love stays exactly where he is. He didn't deserve to rise or fall. He played well. And Geno, getting the 4th straight win for the Seahawks, once again, Geno, under adverse circumstances, banged up offensive line, delivering dimes. At some point, Geno Smith has to get the respect that he deserves as one of the better quarterbacks in the league. 3rd row, Stafford. Man, and I wanted to move Stafford up higher. I got to tell you, when that guy is slinging it, when he's got his guys, oh my goodness, hang 44 on Buffalo. He was great. Lamar had the week off. Jared Goff, we can't forget, just because it was a Thursday night game, he had the one mistake but played really well in that game. The small hands didn't hurt him at all. And his numbers, what, Wilds?
Stafford got all those points in Buffalo against the Bills?
What? I'm sorry, they had a blocked punt. So without that, they had 37 points. I don't know what you're
Trying to gas the guy up.
No, I mean, the team scored 44. You know what I think? The way they were carving up that defense, if that block punt hadn't been returned for a touchdown, they would have gotten that touchdown. Jared Goff moves up as well. And then, second row, you know who it is at this point, Josh Allen. And again, I got to tell you something. And I'm a Josh Allen guy this year.
Yeah.
But this is now back-to-back weeks we have kind of fraudulent records that must be addressed. One was passing, rushing, and receiving touchdown when he did not have a receiving touchdown. He threw a pass, someone else caught it, they lateraled it to him, they scored. Not a single person in media, when that play happened, knew he gets the receiving touchdown. Nobody thought you can get a passing and receiving touchdown on the same play unless it's the Marcus Mariota batted back to yourself. And then this week, the story is 3 passing and 3 rushing touchdowns. Sadly, the quest to get him that 3rd rushing touchdown cost him the game. So it's a real record. I don't know if it's great. And Otto Graham is not very, he's rolling over in his grave saying, this guy's tied me in a loss. Joe Burrow, on the other hand, had another great game. And Patrick Mahomes, all he does is win, give great Sports Illustrated articles, make all the clutch plays down the stretch, and lead the Chiefs to what is assuredly going to be the 6th of the last 7 years Arrowhead Invitational. Coach, the mountain is yours.
I do like that the C.J. Stroud bump up in a bye. And I'm going to advocate for another bump up in a bye because I think that Jaden Daniels is too low and Jordan Love is too high.
Wow. He's coming at your throat, Drew.
And here's what you're talking about with Jordan Love, about how well he played last game. Well, that's not totally true. And in 3 out of the last 4 games, he hasn't had more than 13 completions in 3 out of the last 4 games. Okay, so you've got that element to it. And really, if you look at my title on the bottom, Love Hurts, Jaden Stars.
Yeah.
Maybe remember the song?
Love Hurts.
I
What's the
remember
Jaden
Love
Stars
Love
part?
Hurts.
Love Stars.
I don't remember that part.
Jaden Stars. Okay, well, you know, some of you probably know too. Anyways, to me, what they're doing in Green Bay is they're giving him the Hurts treatment. Okay, and because of
Really?
the amount of interceptions that he's thrown, they're peeling it back. They're peeling back the amount of opportunities that he has to throw. And let's take a look at Jaden versus Jordan here. So you can see that Jaden's been better because it's a rich tapestry. He's been better in almost every significant category. But take a look down there. 59 completions in the last 4 games, which is 30th in the NFL.
It's less than 15 a game.
Do you know how much Jalen Hurts has in the last 4 games? 58. So we're talking about how bad it is in Philadelphia and the funk and all those things. Nobody's talking about the fact that they're giving the Hurts treatment to Jordan Love because they're worried about him ruining games.
Wow.
Where Jaden Daniels, the last team he played, and you can say the Titans aren't any good, they're pretty good defense.
Drew likes their defense.
They're pretty good defensively.
Coach loves what the offensive line
Put
is
10
going to be in
points up against the
2028.
Titans. He deserves to be on the mountain.
Well, he did score 3 touchdowns. He threw for 2. No, what did he throw for 3 touchdowns and ran for 1?
No,
Pretty
Coach,
good day.
when he said 10 points, he's talking about Mac Jones.
I'm just saying, Titans are good.
All right.
Yeah.
So
And-
listen,
and Jaden
Coach, you make a
tore 'em up.
compelling argument.
It's pretty good.
I maybe had my mind polluted by the fact that last week, Brew pounded the table. You weren't here for it. You're going to be agog at this. He declared Jordan Love, or as he calls him,
J-Lo.
the best
Yeah.
quarterback in the NFC.
Yeah.
Better than
Yeah, hey, if you need 14 completions, you're not going to get it.
Wow.
But if you need 13,
Wow.
your money.
Wow. Brew.
Just because CJ's struggling didn't mean you had to
I thought
go at
you were
my
a CJ guy.
I like CJ
Well,
too, but I mean, my goodness.
Pretty good.
Jordan Love has thrown 11 interceptions, 3rd in
But
the
he's
NFL.
had none in his last 3 or 4.
Because his
Yeah,
coach
because
is
he-
telling us, coach
Bunch of
opened my
touchdowns,
eyes.
though.
They're
Back
taking
in.
the ball out of his hands. You know what they're worried about?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm telling you, they've got him on pumpkin watch.
Oh, I thought you were.
Oh,
gonna-
no.
I thought you were
No,
going to say.
well, you know.
Jay, no!
He didn't have to go there
They're
because
avoiding
Nick,
the J-No.
I've got one word for the mountain. G. No!
No, I can't believe it.
It's actually on the bottom. G, no! No! What are we doing?
You're getting a lot of mileage out of this.
It fits. Look, Nick, Gino needs to fall.
He's been great.
The 7 quarterbacks behind him. That's right. If it's right, Russ, Herbert, Jaden, Tua, Stroud, Purdy, and Jalen Hurts should all be ahead of Gino.
Give me a break.
I got the proof.
Geno just played Purdy, outplayed him, and beat him.
Oh, he's won 4 straight. That sounds a lot like quarterback wins to me. In those 4 straight wins, he's got 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. Hey, really? He's leading them? I mean, let's look at the numbers. And I've taken Geno off Pumpkin Watch, but passer rating, he's 18th in the league. He's got 14 touchdown passes in 13 games. All right, touchdown percentage, he's 30th.
Yeah, they're running the touchdowns in. He doesn't have to snipe touchdowns from his running back like all these other
No, I'm talking about just passing touchdowns.
Yes, I know.
Coach talked about them giving J-Lo, erroneously, but still, talked about J-Lo getting the Jalen Hurts treatment. Well, the opposite is true for Geno. He's thrown the second most passes in the league and has 14 touchdowns.
So then, hold on.
Can you put the graphic back up? Because I'm not done. I got a lot to go through.
It's not a lot.
He's thrown 14 touchdowns in the second most attempts. So he's got the 21st most passing touchdowns. Look at the picks, though. He's got the third most interceptions in the league.
Did you just say he has the second most pass attempts?
Yes.
And only the third most interceptions. So that's actually above average.
Still, 12 picks.
All right, can I ask you a different question then?
17th yard. I mean, good.
What? Do we think the Seahawks have a great defense? I don't. Do we think the Seahawks have a great offensive line? I don't. Do we think the Seahawks have a great head coach? Maybe one day, but he is a rookie head coach. The Seahawks have a good receiving core. DK Metcalf hasn't been great this year, but he's good. JSN is good. Do we think they have amazing running backs? The running back was hurt this past week. They had Charbonnet running. So how are they 8-5?
Do we think they have a great quarterback?
I think he has. I think where he's on the mountain. That's great. If there's 10 great quarterbacks, then yeah,
way.
Great. I don't like to throw around the word great that much, but I certainly don't think you could put Russ or this year Herbert or Tua above him. CJ we can't really bump him so high.
Tua is balling. They'd clearly be a playoff team if Tua had stayed healthy. Jaden's just resurrected a franchise.
They're first place though, bro.
CJ is.
Bro, they're in first place.
First of all, they're 8-5.
Yes,
and I get that.
8-5 is the same as Herbert.
Awesome.
Better than Purdy.
So it's okay. It's QB wins.
It's not QB.
Okay, it's QB wins. But 3 touchdowns, 2 picks in the last 4 games.
Hold on, let me ask. Here's where the quarterback wins do matter. If we don't look at any part of the team as like, well, that's carried them. We don't think they have a great defense. We know they don't have a great offensive line. We don't.
They don't have anything great, including quarterback.
Then how are they getting all these wins?
They're a team. They are. We talked earlier about the Bengals not being a team. They are a team. All of them are pretty good.
Okay.
And that's what Geno is. Okay. Pretty good.
I can't believe you said
No!
That's a
Y'all know y'all like it. I don't know why y'all.
Try this one on. Kirk Cousins.
Oh, no.
More like Kirk Cousins of the game.
That's way worse. Look, that is
Cuz out of the game.
That is way worse. Geno is actually good.
Cousins out of the game.
Guys, are you really doing Cousins
this is
again?
Because
I'm not doing last week.
I'm not doing Cousins.
He just had to.
I'm doing Cousins out of the game. Oh my God! We went to
They took us off the air. They just ended the show. They took us off the air. This is worse than the tiny
In any event, here's how Kirk Cousins has been playing. I said if he went to Minnesota on his homecoming and it went terrible, his job was in jeopardy. Here's how he's playing in his 4-game losing streak. Everything is horrible. Everything is horrible. So they've got the Raiders coming up next. All I'm saying is, it's like how my kids' bedtime is 9:30. They want it to be 10. We want it to be 9. We meet in the middle of 9:30. Kirk Cousins, I get it. Got a lot of money invested in you. You're a veteran. You're a nice guy. The whole thing. Give it to halftime. If you go up against this Raiders defense and you are not cooking the Raiders by halftime, it's Penix time. Right. It's time to see Penix, and maybe, what you enter into the year with a plan, maybe that's not the plan. Hey, J.J. McCarthy's our plan. Oh, got to pivot to Sam Darnold. Next thing you know, maybe Sam Darnold's the future. Kirk Cousins was your plan? You kinda. Then you drafted Penix. Maybe it's time to pivot. If you're not going to pivot to Penix, when are you going to do it?
So
he's playing horrible.
Next season.
All right.
Cuz out!
All right. KW.
You started that with tiny hands. You know that.
I don't even know what
No,
you
you
was so
started.
bad
You started
that
it with the
he had to
names.
go
You take
with
the last
J-Lo,
one.
Mine makes
J-Lo.
sense, though.
But hold on, can I just say something? Because I do fear we have lost two things, potentially our transmission and also the plot. The conceit of Mahomes Mountain is I set the mountain and then everyone says where the mistake is, where the adjustment is. Last week, I had Kirk off the mountain. When it was your time to go, you said, Kirk should be off the mountain.
Yeah.
This week, I had Penix on the mountain, clearly showing Kirk's off, Penix is on. Penix, who has not been named the starter, should be playing some point soon.
Yeah.
You got to go and you were like, Penix should be in at halftime. That's not the segment. That's not what we do. You need to find. I know for some reason you have an odd investment in the Kirk Cousins storyline. I don't know
Mr.
why.
Meritocracy.
But you,
That's ridiculous.
They literally talk about it in 2 weeks in a row. You've talked about an uninteresting player and broken the segment format.
Because you don't seem like you want to argue. People want to argue with you. You're like, how dare you? I'm like, all right, I won't do it.
It would be like on Tears if in back-to-back weeks you were like, I want to talk about the Titans. They're perfectly ranked. That's not what we do.
Not everything is a huge debate, okay? That's what the audience wants all the time. Sometimes they just want to talk about
Kirk Cousins in back-to-back weeks.
Yes. Did you see the ratings?
We just did
For
7 straight
Vikings,
minutes
Falcons?
on Geno Smith and Kirk Cousins. Probably not exactly the things that's going to get Hubs attaboys from the bosses who are coming into town. Hopefully to fix our antenna.
We're not using
They
antennas,
literally
are we?
took
Well,
you
maybe
off
we
the air
should.
for
Yeah.